विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतं मायामीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ वर्स् 58 अखण्डानन्दरूपस्य तस्यानन्दलवाश्रिताः ब्रह्माद्यास्तारतम्येन भवन्त्यानन्दिनोऽखिलाः। So in these verses Shankaracharya ji is singing the glory of knowledge, singing the glory of Atma. And here yesterday we have started, we completed this verse number 58, and here of course while singing the glory of this Atma or Atma Jnanam, he is connecting to Upanishad also in order to show the validity of this his teaching, basically that it has a base in the Upanishads or Veda. So it is based on Veda Pramana, that also he wants to show, and for that purpose he just quotes in between. We can understand that this particular kind of a, this verse must have a basis in so and so mantra of Upanishad, etc. We can find it out. So and in verse 58, this it has a basis in Taittiriya Upanishad, Ananda Mimamsa, Brahmananda Valli. We discussed yesterday, and Chandogya Upanishad also in 7th chapter Bhuma Vidya is there. There also this Bhuma or Brahman or Atma is told as Ananda. Yovai Bhuma Tat Sukham Na Alpe Sukham Asti Yovai Bhuma Tat Sukham. What is limitless is of the nature of Ananda. Na Alpe. Whatever is limited, there is no joy in limitation. That's what they want to say. Or even in acquiring a limited object also there is no joy. That's they want to convey. And that is our own experience also. Anyway, so what is limitless is Atma alone. And therefore, and I also told you Alpam means all these objects also. They have in Kinopanishad or somewhere I think it has come, Yad Alpam Tad Martyam, etc., etc., Tad Dukkhatmakam. That is one, I think Bhashikara says like that. Well, Yad Alpam Tad Martyam, Tad Dukkhatmakam. Whatever is Alpam, well, definitely is Martyam, it is mortal, naturally. Because you say Alpam means limited in time, and therefore it is mortal. And what is mortal, definitely Dukkhatmakam gives rise to pain. Because anything once it goes away, gives you pain. Anyway, so basically, here this Chandogya Upanishad 7th chapter also discusses this Bhuma Vidya, and there Bhuma, the Brahman, is shown as Ananda Swarupa. So then the question comes, if object of the world does not have Ananda, then how come I derive happiness from the world? Not only me, everyone is deriving happiness from the world. So Vedanta says, Vedanta says all, it's totally ulta. It is just opposite what we believe. So it says it is not there at all. If the external objects have a knack of making your mind basically quiet, then definitely depending upon that mindset, well, then my mind becomes quiet, and then Atmananda, which is nature of Ananda, gets reflected, in the mind. And that is how you experience joy. So the experiential joy which you have is nothing but this Ananda only, which is, reflected of your own nature. That is the thing. And that mindset depends upon a person. Like suppose my mind is trained in a Carnatic music, well then when I listen my mind becomes quiet because I am trained in that. I have a samskaras of a Carnatic music, etc. Somebody has something else. And so, well, whenever he comes in contact with that object for which he has a samskara, or he has developed a mindset for that object, a favorable object, well then definitely when he comes in contact, his mind becomes very quiet. And when the mind becomes quiet, well, sattva is there, and definitely at that time, Atma only gets reflected in that mind as Ananda. And therefore you experience Ananda. So Atmananda only gets reflected, not knowing that, well, I say that this particular music has given me a joy, or this has given me a joy, that has given me a joy, etc., etc. And we, in our tradition, they used to give an example of a dog biting the bone. You know this example. Puja Swamiji used to tell often. So, well, this dog experiences blood in the mouth. And dog applies the logic. It is a dog logic. Puja Swamiji calls it as a dog logic. What is a dog logic? That before biting bone, well, there was no blood in my mouth. And after biting bone, there is an experience of blood in my mouth. And therefore, bone is a source of the blood. This is a dog's misconception, right? So, bone has no blood. Bone has nothing. Bone is basically bone dry. It has not even an iota of any liquid. Anyway, so definitely. So, it has, when bone he was chewing, his own, he gets hurt in the mouth and his own blood comes out in the mouth and he experiences his own blood. But not knowing that, applying dog logic, he says, well, bone is a source of blood. So, I am like a dog. And every sense object is like a bone. Every sense object is like a bone. It is bone dry. Without a drop of Ananda in it, but definitely, I superimpose upon the object as a source of happiness. Like the dog superimposes on bone as a source of blood. There is only one source of Ananda, and that is Atma. This is Vairagya. This is, even if you have not exposed to the teaching much, well, that there is no source of Ananda other than the oneself. Well, gaining that clarity itself is called dispassion. Anyway, so Akhandananda Rupasya Tasyananda Lavashritaha. There is only one source of Ananda, Atma, and we get Ananda by definitely earthly sense objects. Devatas get Ananda by some heavenly objects, etc., etc. So there is a manifestation of one Ananda only in any yoni. And the degrees are there in Ananda because of that Upadhi. Antakaran Upadhi, reflecting, depends upon, reflected, the reflection is definitely dependent upon reflecting medium. And therefore, definitely Ananda which is reflected, experiential Ananda, that Ananda, well, there is a degree which has been talked in a Taittiriya Upanishad, depends upon the reflecting medium. So, Devatas have a much sophisticated mind, more sattva, etc., compared to human beings, etc. And that is how others also, like Brahmaji, we have reached up to Brahmaji, right? Tasya ekaha brahmanaha anandaha, etc., etc. Shrotriyasya cha akamaha tasya, etc. We have seen yesterday. So, lastly, in Upadhis, when we say in the Shariras, well, Brahmaji has the most sophisticated subtle mind, subtle body, that is mind, and therefore definitely the same Ananda, Atmananda, gets reflected in a very, in a nice way, let's say that way. Anyway, so Brahmaji enjoys much more. In terms of an experiential Ananda, Brahmaji enjoys much more than us. etc. Devatas have also have a much more Ananda than us. So like that Manusha, and then Manusha Gandharva, and Dev Gandharva, and Ajana Deva, etc. So this is how it is. So manifestation of Ananda, well, depends upon the reflecting medium. But so that's how even we also have a degree of Ananda. We sometimes experience a lot of joy. Sometimes we experience joy, but not much. So we have a Priya, Moda, Pramoda, that also we have discussed. So definitely, depending upon my own mind, let's forget about other yonis. Some people say, well, who knows that other yonis are there? But our own experience is proof for that. I mean, when mind is having too much dull, then definitely the Ananda will not be reflected much. And therefore, and then Rajoguna also, then lot of agitation. Then also you know very well that you cannot experience much Ananda. But your mind is quiet, then definitely Sattva is there. More the Sattva, more the experiential Ananda. Because the reflection is very clear. Atmananda, which is getting reflected in the mind, is very clear. Very, very placid. And so therefore, one can experience Ananda more. So that is how it is. So Atma is not called only Sat and Chit here, but Ananda also. Let's go to verse 59. Tadyuktam akhilam vastu vyahvarastadannvitah tasmat sarvagatam brahma kshire sarpirivakhile. So, akhilam vastu tadyuktam, every object in the world, akhilam vastu, every object in the world, tadyuktam, is permeated by that Brahman alone, Atma yuktam, connected, permeated, pervaded by tat. Tat means Brahman or Atma. So every object in the world is permeated by that one Brahman alone. I mean, Brahman is, well, definitely, one recognizes Brahman, one has to ultimately recognize Brahman as oneself in form of I, which is self-revealing. That self-revealing I, that conscious being is Brahman. That is the knowledge, ultimately. That is the knowledge. That clarity should be there. And for that we have seen also, you have to drop the notion, nothing else to be done. You need not have to do any kind of effort to understand that you are limitless. Basically, you drop the limitations, then you will be left over with limitless. So limitations are born of with the identification with the body, etc. So that you start dropping in light of the knowledge, and then definitely the I, which is self-revealing, you will understand it as a Brahman or consciousness, limitless consciousness. So not only Brahman is to be recognized in terms of I, but it is to be recognized in terms of all these objects are also nothing but they are also permeated. Everything in this creation is permeated by Brahman or Atma. So Vidyaranya Swami conveys in his one of his work called Durdusha Viveka. Then it is said every object in the creation, well, I mean it is a conscious or a inert, whatever. Ultimately every object in the creation is pervaded by Atma. And when I have told you, of course, but I am reminding you. When I say pervaded, means you have to immediately bring the example of a wave water or a gold and some ornament or our clay and pot. That kind of a pervasion. You should understand that way. So, well, definitely name and form is there, but name and form has a certain substance. And you will find that there is nothing other than the substance. Even though there is an appearance of a pot, etc. That is a form. And there is a name we have given for the transaction, that is all right. Name and form. But basically, it is pervaded by clay, or it is pervaded by gold, or it is pervaded by water, etc. in different examples. So, well, so this in Durdusha Viveka, well, Vidyaranya Swamiji says that Asti Bhati Priyam Rupam Nama Chetyam Shapanchakam Adyatrayam Brahma Rupam Jagad Rupam Tatodvayam. It says like this. So every object in the creation is basically pervaded by five. I mean, it has five components. Let's say that way. So it has five components. Let's take an example of our clay. Where is the clay? So this is a clip, right? So well, first thing is a name, clip, 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 and then form, a particular form for which only we have given a name. So name and form, that's it. There are two things are over. Then definitely third thing is existence of the clip. Why? Clip, when you say it, then well, definitely existence has come, correct. But suppose existence is not there, pervading this particular object called clip. If existence has not pervaded it, we could not talk about it. We could not talk about the clip at all. And therefore, existence is associated with it. And existence is pervaded as, well, definitely as the gold pervades the ornament, right? Because even I take out even a smallest particle from this, there also it exists, right? Particle exists, plastic or whatever material. So that particle, even a smallest particle, let's say I am able to, subatomic particle I am able to separate from this. Let's think that way. Then subatomic particle exists. So the existence is pervading entire clip. Existence is pervading entire form. Please understand this. Existence pervades entire form. Just as water pervades entire wave. Same way. Then only from your mind, this form is a very substantial entity, very solid entity will go away from your mind. And you may think that the form is there and existence pervades. So form plus existence. Don't think that way. If existence, well, because we are going to say existence, that is Sat, etc., is Atma. But right now, let's say, so existence pervades the entire form. So when existence does not pervade the form, well, we cannot talk about the form at all, right? We cannot talk about. Like the water itself is not there. Where is the question of talking about the wave? Same way. So this is a third component, existence. And then fourth component, well, we can't talk about existence of an object without without that object getting revealed. So this particular object is revealed also right now. Then only I can say it exists. Without the object being revealed by the consciousness, well, definitely you cannot talk about its existence. You can talk about an existence when, it is revealed by consciousness. And therefore, consciousness also pervades entire form, entire clip, because it's the, how can you say a consciousness pervades the entire clip? Because you are seeing entire clip. The whole clip is evident to you. Therefore, without consciousness, this cannot become evident on its own. It is not a self-evident entity. And therefore, consciousness should pervade entire object, whatever that form here, clip. And therefore, then only the whole object is evident to you right now. So, the fourth thing is chit, or let's say bhati. Because clip bhati. Clip bhati. Bhati means it is evident. It is evident means it is pervaded by consciousness. Third thing was asti. Nama, rupam, and then asti. Asti means existence. Existence also pervades it. Consciousness also pervades it. Anyway, so the fourth thing is that. And fifth thing is, priyatva. Means pervaded by ananda. Why? Because every object is dear to someone. Dear to someone at a particular time. May not be all objects you like or me like. There are thousands and thousands of things other like, right? Totally rotten, food, totally spoiled food. Well, it is liked by the fungus and whatever, some microorganism, something. They live on it. They live. Their life is totally based on it. So every object is dear to someone or other at appropriate condition. And so, well, definitely, if it is dear, then definitely it should give ananda. So ananda also should pervade it. And therefore, asti bhati priyam indicates, so that asti means it exists, means existence has pervaded the object. It is bhati means it is evident, then consciousness has pervaded that object. And it is priyam to you means basically you too or anybody else. It is priyam means definitely ananda must have pervaded it. That's how we say. So, well, and But Swamiji, some objects we don't like, right? So they say that even a disliked object is a source of ananda. Even a disliked object also is a source of ananda. How? Only when it goes away. Only when it goes away. So they say some people give happiness whenever they go, and some people will give happiness wherever they go. There are two types of people. Some people give happiness wherever they go, and some people give happiness whenever they go. And therefore, any object can become a source of joy, either being present or being absent. That's how we say. And you need not worry. If you don't like this logic, forget about it. But please understand that there are crores and crores of types of living being, conscious entities are there, and for each conscious entity, the objects of his pleasure must be different. So they have, and that is very logical. Even between you and me, if we start discussing about what kind of objects are very dear to you, and if I start narrating, your nose will go up. You says, what kind of a thing do you like, Swamiji? Like when I say I like this dudhi, you know that dudhi, that god. So many people, that particular vegetable, which is very long, like a cylinder, I like somehow. And so some people say, what is in there? It has more than 90% water. What do you like in that? And even if you make that vegetable, it doesn't have much taste. What do you like in this, Swamiji? So this is how it is. So I am extending that logic. What I am talking is between human beings, but you can extend it. And you have found also that dog likes something which you and me won't like. I should not discuss too much about this. So, when this thing comes, priyam comes, people will have a difficulty to understand. We feel that everything is not priyam to me, but it is not required that everything should be priyam to you. And this is a very beautiful arrangement of Ishvara. If everything is priyam to you, and being a human being, you start hoarding. Human beings, they say, the weakness of the human being, let's say, the weakness of the human being is a greed. You won't find in any living being other than the human being. Greed. He has a plenty for whole life. He has plenty. He knows also. But he won't stop further to hoard. Okay. More and more. My next generation. Anyway, you know all these things. So definitely it is good that everything is not priyam to you. That's how I say ragadveshas are good. Don't get up from the seat. I'm telling you, ragadveshas are good. So long they don't bind you. They don't compel you for fulfillment. Keep whatever amount of ragadveshas you want to keep it. And you will have it also. No human being or no living being is free from ragadvesha. Certain things they like, certain things they don't like, and it is good. That's an arrangement, beautiful arrangement. Anyway, so you can understand that nama rupa asti bhati priyam, etc. But wait a minute. Don't go ahead. Okay. What is the question? Question is, you said object does not have a happiness. And now you say object is priyam, means it has ananda. Therefore, then why we were saying in the previous verse that object does not have any kind of happiness, it is and like a dog logic and everything you said, it's basically a nature of Atma only reflected. That's what it is. That is what we say. That asti bhati priyam is nothing but ultimately Atma. So not only this, like I like myself. Because I am a conscious being, consciousness has manifested also, and therefore I can say that I like myself. This object cannot tell you like that, because consciousness even though it is pervaded by the consciousness, and that is how it becomes evident to you, but it is not able to tell you that, I am like that also. Is not able to tell because it doesn't have a subtle body. But basically, you are, whatever the priyatvam you have in this object, You may feel, see, please understand, a ignorant person feels the form is a source of happiness. We say form is not a source of happiness. It is actually Atma, which is Ananda Sarupa, has pervaded this form, and that is how you have a priyatvam in the object. Please understand this. Otherwise, it will create a confusion. In the previous verse, I said, well, object does not have a source of, object is not a source of happiness. Therefore, object will not be dear to you. But then object is dear to you. Then object is dear to you because it is pervaded by the Atma. That's what we say. Well, because of ignorance, you feel this is a reality. Form is a reality. For an ignorant person, there is nothing called Asti Bhati Priyam. He said that form, that particular form, whatever is there, is independently existing. What you say that Atma, which is a source of existence, well, and and this form basically borrowed consciousness and borrowed existence and all. We don't think so. We don't think so. Whatever we say this form, whatever we are seeing, that's a reality. And therefore they associate existence to the form, they associate consciousness called evidence, etc., to the form, and they associate the priyatvam or ananda, etc., to the form. Please understand. Well, this person who knows this, that basically everything is pervaded by the Atma, and therefore even in the object, when you have that kind of an attitude of, you are attracted towards an object, it is dear to you because Atma, which is Ananda Sarupa, is pervaded the object. And how Atma Ananda Sarupa is pervaded, you know very well. Now I should not tell you. It is just like water pervades the wave. So that is how this particular thing has 5 components: Asti, Bhati, Priyam, that 3, and Namarupa. And then that verse in Drigdrishya Viveka says this. So Asti, Bhati, Priyam, Rupam, Nama Chetyam Shapanchakam, Adyatrayam Brahma Rupam, Jagat Rupam Tatodvayam. Before I go into that, I remembered one point also. So reflected Ananda also will not be here. You can understand now very well, because reflecting medium is not there. Otherwise, this clip would tell you that I am right now enjoying. It will be able to tell you, but it is not able to tell you. Even though it is pervaded by consciousness, consciousness is not able to get reflected in this, because that subtle body is absent. The reflecting medium is absent. Consciousness cannot get reflected in the gross body, which I have explained you before also. And so it requires a subtle body. If subtle body is there, well, consciousness will manifest also, because it pervades that form. And and it will manifest also. If medium is there, why should not it manifest? Like sunlight pervades the entire mirror. Definitely you are able to see the mirror itself because of the sunlight. And not only that, mirror is such a medium where the sunlight gets reflected also. Sun gets reflected also. So 2 things are there. So this is evident to you. You are able to know this object because consciousness has pervaded that. But consciousness is not able to manifest. Otherwise, this will become a conscious entity like you and me. So, and then it will say also, right now I am in Ananda, or I am in ecstasy, or something, whatever. So that is not able to tell. So Ananda also has pervaded. Consciousness also is pervaded. But that experiential Ananda, that reflected, will not be there, because the reflection itself of Atma is not possible. So, so Asti Bhati Priyam Rupam Nama Chetyam Amsha Panchakam. These 5 components are there in every object. Adyatrayam, the first 3, Asti Bhati Priyam, Brahma Rupam, that is Atma, Jagat Rupam Tatodvayam, this name and form belongs to Jagat. Name and form belongs to, if you go to the causal state, then name and form belongs to Maya. Please understand, because everything has come from ultimately Brahman plus Maya. You know that very well. Ishvara. Everything has come. Ishvara is a Jagat Karana. So name and form belongs to Maya. And Asti Bhati Priyam means Brahman. And they are non-separate. They are non-separate. So therefore Maya also is non-separate from the Brahman. And so Brahman along with the Maya manifest into all forms. All forms. So Ishvara manifests into all forms. So, Akhilam Vastu Tadyuktam Vyavaraha Tadanvita, Shankaracharya ji says, well, so every Vyavara, every transaction is associated with Brahman. So, when I am transacting with this, putting here and putting there and whatever, I am transacting with it, but basically I am transacting with Brahman. Because if you really analyze it, well, other than Asti Bhati Priyam will not come. Nothing else is there. Solids, substantial thing is just Asti Bhati Priyam. Nothing else. So start, you start disintegrating this particular form. It leads to Asti Bhati Priyam. Everything is Asti Bhati Priyam. Whatever is subatomic particle, everything, Asti Bhati Priyam, Asti Bhati Priyam. Subatomic particle exists. Subatomic particle is evident. And subatomic particle is Priyam. Well, etc., etc. So, but Swamiji, we don't have, we don't like, you like the form, but form is made up of whatever the compound. So, Asti Bhati Priyam basically is the substance of this. That's what I want to convey. So, Asti Bhati Priyam, and don't think that form also exists on its own and Asti Bhati Priyam also pervade. Hey, form exists means that existence of the form has come from what then? I say very existence, which is the nature of Atma, pervades it. Then other than Atma, where is the existence of this? Please tell me. Where is the existence of a form? It is not there. And therefore, basically what you see as a solid entity, substantial entity called form, basically it is nothing but a manifestation of Brahman alone, Asti Bhati Priyam alone, Satchidananda alone, well, through the Maya. Because that Brahman cannot manifest into a form kind of a thing. Well, and therefore, basically, it is a manifestation of Maya, which is non-separate from Brahman. And therefore, form and Asti Bhati Priyam are no two separate things as such. And name, of course, why I am not uttering name again? Because name is not born from Ishvara. Ultimately, human being has given name for transaction. For this particular form, you should have some name, right? And therefore, definitely, you give some name called clip. So everyone will recognize. Give me clip. So that person will bring this thing only. He will not bring this naturally. Because so beautiful, right? Name, that is how say Shabdas, what is that? Shabdastu Vyavara Prayoga. Oh, sorry, Ulta. Vyavarastu Shabda Prayoga. Vyavara, the transaction is nothing but a Shabda Prayoga. Shabda means a name. Anyway, so this is how Shankaracharya says here, Akhilam Vastu Tadyuktam, all the objects are definitely permeated or pervaded by that Tad means that Brahman or Atma, Vyavaraha Tad Anvitaha, and therefore Anvita means associated with, and therefore Tad Anvitaha, associated with Tad means that Brahman. So our Vyavara, our transaction with varieties of the names and forms daily is nothing but the Vyavara with the Brahman, basically. So this is how we should know it. So when I handle a pot, well, definitely I am basically handling the truth of the pot. Pot as such is not there. There is nothing called pot plus clay. There is nothing there. Or let's say pot plus Asti Bhati Priyam. Nothing of that sort. That Asti Bhati Priyam under the spell of Maya, well, it is not under spell, I have not used proper word, but well, basically Brahman alone, with the help of Maya, has taken a appearance of a form. That's how form is mithya. Because Asti Bhati Priyam is ultimately Satyam, and there is no independent existence of any form, then form is mithya. That is how our definition is there. So, we can see that how our transaction with the Brahman or the truth, all the time we are really transacting with the truth, but we are not knowing. Because of the self-ignorance, we think we give a reality to the form, and so I say I transact with the clip, means I transact with the particular form, thinking that this form, this clip, has a independent existence, not knowing the essence of this clip, not knowing the Atma of a clip, not knowing the truth of the clip. Well, we say I am transacting with the clip. That Ajnani will say. And Jnani will say, well, I am transacting with Brahman, Ishvara. Why Ishvara or Brahman? Because name and form also you include. Name and form include with Asti Bhati Priyam. Well, say I am transacting with the Ishvara. That's how. And name and form, well, definitely you don't want to include. Okay. I am transacting with Brahman. Oh, that's how the way if you want to take, you take it that way also. Anyway, so when you are seeing a movie, well, basically, you automatically, definitely, when you are seeing a movie, you are automatically seeing the screen only, really. But enamored with different characters, and so, well, you, as though from your sight, the screen has gone. You are totally engrossed in that form, whatever form, character. And therefore, this is how, right now also, in the creation also, this has happened to us due to Ajnanam and also Ragadvesha. Well, definitely, we are enamored with any object, basically, not knowing that the truth of the object is Astipati Priyam or Satchidananda or Brahman. So, ignorant overlooks that fact, and what fact? That I am transacting with the Ishvara, that he overlooks. And a wise person will always, he is aware of. He need not say all this thing. It doesn't look good. Well, I am transacting with Ishvara, or he all the time, whoever meets, then he says, well, I am transacting with Ishvara. I am transacting with you in the form of Ishvara. You need not say all this thing. It doesn't look good. Well, in your understanding, it is there that he is aware of this fact. That is the difference between an ignorant and a wise person. That one is aware of the fact, one is not aware of the fact. That's all. Tasmat sarvagatam. So Brahman is everywhere. Sarvagatam, sarvavyapi. So, well, you can't ask where the Brahman is. Open your eyes, Brahman is there. Close your eyes, Brahman is there. Hey, close your eyes, Brahman is there. Yeah, in form of thought. Thought also asti, exists. Thought bhati, thought is evident. Yeah. And thought is priyam. No, I don't like this thought, Swamiji, particular thought. Okay, so when it becomes absent, you will be happy, right? Yeah, okay. So, well, object becomes, say, a source of happiness. This is just by the way. Object is a source of happiness. Well, either remaining absent or being present. Anyway, so Brahman is recognized, this way. Antarbahishya tatsarvam vyapyam narayana sthitah in Purusha Suktam. Antarbahishya tatsarvam. Bahi also, outside also, and antah also. Well, he is appreciation. Everything is pervaded by Narayana. So, well, definitely for practicing this Nirvikalpaka Samadhi, etc., you need not close the eyes. Because Nirvikalpaka means what? No Vikalpa, no division, only one thing. Right? No Vikalpa means what? There is only one thing. So, there is one thing, and that is Brahman. So, he is seeing Brahman everywhere. Therefore, he doesn't see Vikalpas. Well, I am a seer and that is a object of, seeing, etc. Or this and this has a really different. Here also this Vikalpa. No Vikalpa at all. No Dvaitam at all. In his understanding. Seeing, he sees the two forms. He counts also two. Definitely. Seeing. But in his understanding, definitely, he sees one thing. He says that it is a manifestation of one Brahman or Atma. It's manifestation of me, basically. Basically, it's manifestation of me. I alone pervade everything. I alone in the form of existence, give an existence to entire creation. I alone am a consciousness and pervades all the objects, and that's how all objects are evident to me. And well, I alone in the form of Ananda pervades all the objects. And this is how, that is a Priyatvam, also dear, things are dear to the living beings. So basically, in Vedanta and Yoga, this is the difference. We need not close eyes for Samadhi. Yatra yatra manoyati tatra tatra samadhi. If you remember in Kenopanishad, lastly some mantra we were discussing, I said that yatra yatra manoyati, wherever his mind goes with open eyes, he is seeing varieties of the things. Tatra tatra samadhaya. There he is seeing this one thing alone. His mind gets abided into that Brahman. And that Brahman which is the self. He sees that everything is a manifestation of himself. Sarvabhutasam atmanam, sarvabhutani cha atmani, etc. etc. So, in Drigdrishya Viveka, that they talk about some 6 types of meditation. Vidyaranya talks about. And in that 3 types of meditation, he talks with an open eye. And 3 types of meditation he talks about with a closed eye. So open eye meditation in Vedanta only it is possible. Anyway, example also here has been given, like previous cases. Here also there is an example. How Brahman has pervaded the entire creation, for that there is an example. Akhile kshire sarpihi iva. Brahman is or Atma is inherent in the world. How? Just as butter is inherent in milk. So superficially you don't, very beautiful example, because when you take a milk or a curd also, you won't find that, you are not able to see the butter, right? So superficially you are not able to recognize, but it is there. It is actually, butter has pervaded that. Sarpihi means butter. Kshiram means milk. So Asti Bhati Priyam is pervaded. This much we can definitely say. Space is evident. Well, okay, Asti Bhati is there, and space is definitely Priyam. Space is Priyam, you may not. Sometimes what happens, the things don't look dear to you. But when it becomes an absent, then you find that thing was so dear to you. You will understand the importance of a thing when the thing becomes absent. That is how it is. When space is there, well, and it's all the time there. When you wake up and you go to sleep, all the time space is there. When you come in this world, well, space is there. When you go away also, well, prarabdha is over, space is there. So it is taken for granted. Space is there. But basically it has a so big role in our life, and suppose if it is not there, even inside also, sometimes cough or some our cold, etc., and you don't feel or sometimes person eats so much and then he becomes so uncomfortable because no space left. He has filled up to the neck. He likes so much certain thing, and so he has filled up to neck with that particular food, whatever. And so there is no space left over. And then the person becomes so uncomfortable because of the space. That's how I heard in North Korea, etc., sometimes they keep the person, some defector or something. Well, they want to punish, they keep in a very close space, just 3 by 3 or something, for years together. 3 by 3 or 2 by 2. And above also, just he can just sit, nothing else. So he can't sleep, he cannot stand, he cannot walk. Such a, closure. And you can imagine what happens. Then suppose if that person thinks, then he will realize what a value of the space, open space. Anyway, so this Priyatvam also we can associate with a thing. Anyway, so now and also we have to connect it to the particular Upanishad mantra also. And so let's say, for verse 58 we have seen, right? Ananda Sarupam is, basically, for that we have seen Taittiriya Upanishad Brahmanandavali and Chandogya Upanishad Bhuma Vidya Prakranam. And Bhuma Vidya Prakranam, by the way, it is a dialogue between Narada and Sanat Kumara. And basically Sanat Kumara teaches him that ultimately this Bhuma or the Brahman alone is limitless, it is fullness, it is the nature of Ananda, etc. Now in this verse 59 which we saw, the principle which he discussed, Shankaracharya, that Brahman pervades everything, etc., permeates everything, that is also has a basis in Mundaka Upanishad. So in Mundaka Upanishad there is a dialogue between Shaunaka and Angirasa, and Angirasa teaches to Shaunaka and he says, Brahma eva idam amrutam purastat, Brahma pashat, Brahma dakshinatasya uttarena, adascha urdhvam cha prasrutam, Brahma eva idam vishvam, varishtham, idam varishtham. So, Brahma eva idam amrutam purastat. What is in the front is Brahman, what is in the back is Brahman, what is in the dakshinataha, what is in the side, right side, left side, everything is Brahman. Urdhvam, above, below, everything. Brahma eva idam vishvam, varishtham. So that Brahman alone pervades everything. That was the Mundaka mantra. That is the basis for Shankaracharya's is this verse. Verse number 59. Now let's go to verse number 60. Anarnam sthulamahrasvam adirgamajamavyayam arupagunavarvarnakhyam tadbrahmetyavadharayet. this particular verse has a basis in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. There, I told you yesterday that in Akshara Brahmanam, Yajnavalkya, because actually Gargi has asked a question to Yajnavalkya in a court of a Janaka. Janaka has called all this, all the learned people, and he wanted to prove that, Yajnavalkya's learnedness. He was most learned. But other Brahmanas were not accepting, they were rejecting him, etc. And so Janaka called this Vidvat Sabha and he wanted to prove that. And then all this, and they were asking varieties of the questions to Yajnavalkya. And Yajnavalkya was answering one by one, and in that Gargi also was there, one of the members in the court. And she also asked a question regarding Aksharam. Aksharam is that Brahman or Atma. And while defining that, Yajnavalkya gave a beautiful definition, very beautiful definition. That definition itself is sufficient for you to do Nididhyasanam for a long time. And it starts with Asthulam, etc. Asthulam, Ananuhu, Araswam, Adirgham, Achayam, Alohitam, Anakasham, Avayam, etc. etc. It's a long definition, very, very long definition. And that mantra is the basis here in this verse. And you can see also Ananu, Asthulam, Araswam, Adirgham, Ajam, Avyayam, etc. etc. So from that we can understand that this verse has a basis in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Akshara Brahmanam. It is 388. Third chapter, 8th Brahmana, that is Akshara Brahmana, and that I think 8th mantra number also is 8. Anyway, so Ananuhu, Asthulam, etc. So Ananu, well, it is not small. Asthulam, it is not, let's say this way, Ananu, it is not a subtle, it is not Atma. Akshara means Atma, and he is defining Akshara, means Atma. So Atma is not a subtle thing, Atma is not Asthulam, Atma is not a gross thing, Atma is not a Haraswam, Atma is not a short thing, Atma is not a long thing, etc. etc. Means I am not long, I am not a short, I am not a subtle, I am not a gross, I am free from birth, etc. Ajam, Avyayam, I am free from any destruction. Arupam, I am free from any formless. Agunam, well, I am free from attributes. Arupam, Agunam, right? And then Avarnam, well, I am free from any color. Akhyam means basically name, so I am free from any name also. Name, particular form has a name, otherwise there is no name. So, and such a Atma, well, this is only available for one means of knowledge, that is Shastra. That Shastra only can talk about this. So in Chandogyam there is an anecdote, very beautiful anecdote is there, where Uddalaka, teaches his own son, Shvetaketu. And he wanted to convey that, basically the Atma pervades everything. But it is not seen. If you want to see, where is the Ishvara? Well, you are not able to see. When I say this is Ishvara, you say, where is Ishvara? Naturally. So, basically, the teacher, the Uddalaka teaches his son, Shvetaketu, that basically Brahman or Atma pervades everything and Brahman pervades you also. He was teaching Brahma Vidya to him. And then he said, well, you bring a jar, glass jar, means a jar made up of glass, with a water, full of water, and you bring a lump of a salt also, a big lump of salt. So a solid piece of salt. And he brings both. Shvetaketu brings, and then he says, you add that piece of salt in the water and put a lid on it and keep it on one side of the room. And then next day when they met, then he asked again, I want that piece of that salt, the solid piece of salt from that jar. Please give me. And he went there and and he could not find it at all. He could not see it, and he puts a hand also inside. Of course, need not, because there is a glass jar you can see, but let's take it that way. And he puts a hand in that water also, but he could not find. He, through eyes also, he wanted to see that solid piece of salt, but he could not see also. And but he knows He knows, of course. He was a Harvard graduate actually. He was Shvetaketu was a Harvard graduate. Really, was very brilliant, very, very brilliant. And that's how Upanishad uses the word Anuchanamani. And Anuchanamani means he is not easily going to surrender to any teacher also. Such a kind of person. Little ego also is there. It's good. Anyway, intellect is there, and so ego also is there. And it's okay at that age. Anyway, so he wanted to see he could not see the salt. Want to bring out with the help of hand, or could not. Then definitely conclusion should be what? Conclusion should be what? There is no salt in the water, right? There is no salt in the water. And therefore, but he of course has not concluded. But some other person has come. He would say, well, there is no salt in water. He is called an atheist with respect to salt in the water. With respect to salt in the water, if other person who comes, who has not seen that putting the piece of salt in the water previous day, etc., then for him he say, well, there is no salt. Why are you saying there is a salt in the water? There is no salt. So he is atheist, let's say. And but the teacher, he want to teach basically. So the Uddalaka tells to Shvetaketu, well, you take you lick from the top of that water. And so he says, Urdhvat achama eti. Urdhvat means from the top. Achana means lick. Take a sip of it. Then what Shvetaketu told? Lavanam. Well, it is salt. Madhyat achama iti. From the middle portion, well, with the help of a dropper or something, you take it out, the middle portion, and check. And then he said, Lavanameti. From the bottom, you take it out and check. And taste it. So he says, Lavanameti. So there is a salt in the bottom, there is a salt in the middle portion of the jar, water, and there is a salt in the upper portion of the water also. So, well, definitely, that shows what? Salt has pervaded the entire water. That's the wrong thing to say that there is no salt in the water. Right? So, if I will be a salt, please understand this, I will be a salt atheist when I use inappropriate means of knowing the salt in water. I repeat again. I will be atheist with respect to the salt in water if I use inappropriate means of knowing the salt in water. What are the inappropriate means? Hand. Right? Bringing, he wants to bring out that piece of salt from the water. Not there. He wants, eyes also is a means of knowing the salt. Is it a means? No. Inappropriate means. So eyes, etc., or let's say even smell also. I hope so. That salt water does not have much smell. I believe so. All our, the people who are very well, all the time spend time in the kitchen. They can enlighten me. But then basically I feel there is no smell also. So if you employ inappropriate means of knowing the salt in water, you will be atheist. You will say, I am a atheist. I don't believe that there is a salt in water. Same way. In our case also, it is the same thing. Whole creation is like a water, and Atma or Brahman is a salt. It has pervaded the entire creation, but these atheist people, or Ishvara pervaded the creation, all atheist people try to see Brahman through inappropriate means. Show me. They say like that. They show me. Where is your Ishvara? They want to see this through the eyes, or they want to smell it, or whatever. Your senses, etc., are inappropriate means of knowing the Ishvara or a Brahman in the creation. Creation is pervaded by the Brahman. We have seen Asti Bhati Prem, etc. Creation is pervaded by Brahman. But basically, to know that Brahman has pervaded, if you use your senses, it is not going to work, because Brahman is never available for senses. Ashabdam, asparsham, arupam, arasam, agandham. Well, arupam. So Brahman cannot be seen. Astibhati priyam cannot be seen. Astibhati priyam cannot be heard. Astibhati priyam cannot be touched. Well, I am touching the form, I am touching the cliff. Where is your Brahman? They say also. And therefore, where is, it is not available for taste. It is not available for smell. And therefore, if you use an inappropriate means of knowing the Brahman in the creation, which has pervaded the creation, like the salt has pervaded the water, if you want to see the pervasion of Brahman or Ishvara in this creation, if you use inappropriate means, you will say, I don't believe that Brahman or Ishvara pervades the creation, or there is Ishvara which pervades the creation. If you use inappropriate means, well, you will say there is no salt in water. I say there is no salt in water. What are the inappropriate means? A nose or eyes. You cannot see the salt. You cannot smell that salt. But basically, it is there. And in fact, such people will tell you also, you and me, well, what are you doing? I mean, morning class and evening class, what are you doing? What your Swami is telling? He talks about Brahman, you forget about it. Let's talk something else. No. What did you say? That Brahman pervades Brahman. What is that Brahman? Well, they say Brahman is, our Swami says that Brahman is limitless and it pervades entire creation. In fact, everything is Brahman. And that Brahman pervades everything, pervades me also, and therefore I am also Brahman. Eh? What? Show me. Brahman, your Brahman pervades this? Yeah. Brahman means what? Ishvara, you consider that. Okay. Ishvara pervades this? Where is it? Ho gaya kaam. So they will say, that person will tell you, you are a blind believer of Ishvara. Blind believer of Ishvara. Could you follow that? So, well, definitely, they all criticize. Well, like the people who gather in that court of Uddalaka, who comes the next day, in a previous day they have not come, and next day when they came, and they don't know that salt, a solid piece of salt has been put in the water. They don't know it. And they are all trying to see in the water, what? Salt. And they all will say, O Shvetaketu, you are a blind believer of salt in the water. Or, O Uddalaka, you are a blind believer of the salt in the water. That salt pervades the entire water, etc. It is not true. It is all, you are just a believer, etc. They will criticize you. That is what is happening to us. Like Uddalaka and Shvetaketu, our position is also like that. Only thing is, answer is this. You use appropriate means. Then you will understand everything is pervaded by Brahman. You use appropriate means, not your senses, not your inference. Brahman is not available for inference. Brahman is not an object of inference. Brahman is not an object. First thing, where is the question of becoming an object of any means of knowledge? Over. That's over. And therefore, employ proper means. Still, Brahman pervades everything. If you want to really know, we are not just, saying that Brahman is not an object for any means of knowledge, means there is no Brahman. No. We say everything is pervaded by Brahman. In fact, everything is Brahman, including me and you. Oh, then how will I know that Brahman? That's how Shastra comes into the picture. Shastra is the only means of knowing it. So, in case of salt water, the taste, the tongue is the right means of knowledge to know that the salt pervades entire water. Same way here also, the whole creation is like water, and Brahman is like a salt, and Brahman has pervaded the entire creation. To know that, you have to use the appropriate means, and that is Shastra, along with the teacher, of course. And then that with the help of the Shastra Pramanam, you will understand everything is Brahman. Not everything is Brahman. Everything is you. That's what it is. You pervade entire creation. You are Brahman. That's how you are self-conscious. And drop the notion. Then you will no more say you are an individual. I am is self-revealing. You have not to reveal Brahman. Brahman is revealed in the form of I am, self-revealing all the time. Drop the notion after that, after I am, whatever you are saying, drop it in light of knowledge. That is what it is. Asthulam. You are not sthulam, you are not gross. Oh, I thought I am this gross body. No, sir, you are not. Ananu. I thought I am subtle. I am subtle body, I am mind, I am senses, etc. No, 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 sir, you are not. Arasvam, Adirgam. I thought I am very short. My height is very, compared to these other people, very short. Swamiji, Indians generally have a less height. Chinese have a less height compared to other people, especially Westerners, etc. Well, I don't know. But then, all notions pertaining to the I, which is self-revealing and self-conscious. Drop it. That's all. Then what is left over is consciousness. What is left over? Tell me, what is left over? Then we will discuss also that now I want to see consciousness. This is how it is. Now I want to see consciousness. Amazing it is. When you say I am a conscious of everything, when you are saying I am conscious of body, I am conscious of mind, I am conscious of a thought, I am conscious of Jagat, I am conscious of space, I am conscious of tree, I am conscious, I am conscious, I am conscious. Means you are what then? Consciousness. There is a question of seeing the consciousness. It's already proven you are consciousness. But then Swamiji, I don't just take myself as a consciousness. That's what I say. Drop the notion. The only job, the distance between you and moksha is dropping the notion. That is what the definition of Akshara Brahmanam says. Asthulam, Ananu, Arasvam, Adirgham, Achayam, Alohitam. Means you are not, not. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Hari Om.